Well, this agreement is important. In my view, it is the most important U.S.-European agreement since the Marshall Plan, or at least initiative since the Marshall Plan. It is important to the economies of the United States and Europe at this juncture because from the Great Recession of 2008 forward, our economic growth has not been good enough. And this is a way in a deficit-neutral way to increase economic stimulus and to bring new participants into the marketplace for transatlantic trade and investment. So that's the sort of immediate economic case. In addition, there's a political and a strategic component to this. This gives a purpose and a meaning to the transatlantic relationship to complement our longtime partnership in NATO and on values kind of across the board. Strategically, it gives Americans a sense that they actually have a link and connection and job opportunities in Europe, and Europeans the same with Americans, and that this will complement and bolster the relationship that we have in other fields. Proportionate benefits of this agreement are more significant for small and medium-sized enterprises. Big business already has a very large share of the transatlantic trade and investment situation. Big companies invest in, American companies invest in Europe to serve European markets, and European companies invest in the United States to serve U.S. markets. So BMW has a plant in South Carolina manufacturing cars for the American market. But what this will do will enable a small entrepreneur in Dusseldorf who has a good idea to sell not only within the European Union, but also in Oregon and California and Texas and other markets just as easily as BMW can send its cars from South Carolina to those markets. Yes, the internet makes all this possible. The internet and overnight package delivery or rapid package delivery makes it possible for small manufacturers in both economies to serve customers in the other side of the Atlantic. Both of us have high standards. The United States has very high standards of protection of environment and health, and has had them for many years. In some areas, U.S. standards are higher than European standards. In other areas, European standards are higher. But what this will do is give us a direction and purpose to make our standards compatible so that we'll be able to sell in each other's market and benefit from the equally high standards. There is no other market for the United States with as high standards as the European market, and the same is true for Europe. Back in the 1990s, we thought about doing a transatlantic free trade agreement. And one of the reasons we did not do it, is that we were afraid of disrupting the new WTO, the World Trade Organization, the multilateral system designed to govern world trade. And if the United States and the European Union, it was thought, got together, we might make it impossible for the WTO to do additional rounds of global trade reducing activities. So we didn't do it, and in fact, the WTO didn't succeed anyway in the so-called Doha round, was not very successful. And it's actually only since the United States and the European Union announced these negotiations that the WTO has been successful. In Bali last winter, there was a quite significant, not as big as we would have liked, but a significant agreement in trade facilitation.